it would be love, and another person it would be manipulation. You know, and it just,
for people, this transition, this transcendence that we are facing, that's imminent, can only happen when the old story has been fulfilled. That means that the process of grief and despair that I went through and that many people go through, when they start reading about peak oil, they start reading about the financial system and its true masters, they start reading about the atrocities that are ongoing, they start reading about the control systems that are being put in place, the plans, the enormous concentration camps that are being built right now, the genetic engineering, the genetically engineered, I mean, I don't know how much of this stuff is, quote, true or not, okay? But you can read about it. Genetically engineered flu viruses that are being put into vaccines. The HAARP project in Alaska meant to disrupt the ionosphere with possible military applications. The database of every human being's information. The plans to implant chips into people to keep track of them better. The labeling of all consumer products with chips so they can all be tracked. The surveillance technologies that are in place and that are becoming ubiquitous. The trend towards political fascism. The polarization of wealth growing and growing and growing. The dying of the forests. The dying of the oceans. The 1,000-mile long flotilla of plastic that's circulating in the Pacific Ocean. The changing climate. The islands that are going under. The cultures that are dying. The languages that are dying. The children that are dying. The oppression that is ongoing and accelerating. All of the good things that are being strip-mined. The mountains in West Virginia, one by one, they knock the top off the mountain and they dig the coal out and they leave ruin. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. This is the world we live in. With your permission, I want to take you to visit this state of being that is in intimate contact with all that is happening in the world. For different people, different aspects of it touch us, like as if our heart were unprotected. And you see something, you read something, and it just hurts. And it's not just that it hurts, you feel helpless. What can I do about this? You know, I read about anything you can imagine has happened on this earth. During the Great Leap Forward in China, those of you who are parents can imagine what it's like to watch your kids starve. Mommy, I'm hungry. Daddy, I'm hungry, and there's no food. And there's no reassurance. So they would make soup out of their own blood and feed it to their children. Anything that you can imagine has happened on this earth. No optimism can be authentic that does not incorporate the depths of despair. Otherwise, you're paving over a toxic waste dump. The reason this book is powerful is because you can't read it and say, this guy just doesn't get it. He doesn't get how bad things are, how hopeless things are. Your own optimism is the same. If you haven't on some level visited and incorporated and held and then passed through this territory, then your optimism won't convince other people and it won't convince yourself. You'll feel like you've paved over the toxic waste dump. You'll feel like there's something underneath that's not stable. I know that the process of that this process is not complete with me because sometimes I'm drawn back into it. And the world says, I would like you to feel this again. So with your permission, I would like to take you into this, to visit it again, and we're all holding hands and stepping into this. It's kind of an ordeal, actually. We're stepping in it together, and we're going to pull each other out of it, too. And we are going to have a knowing that all of this happened for a reason. And we are going to have a chance to really feel it in a space where we won't get lost in it. Many people have been lost in it for years. So I would, right now, let's take a short break in silence. Chime